We have some updates from the self-managed side, some .com updates, and then just a general overview of our OKRs and some directional thoughts. Tom Cooney is not joining us today. He's in another meeting, so I am in charge today. Watch out. So we've had a lot of growth in the team, and we're going to continue to see a lot of growth. Over the past period, we hired James over on my side and Sarah over on my side. Starting next week, we have a new engineer in the APAC region, and we're really excited about a support operations specialist starting at the end of the month. So huge thank you to recruiting and everyone involved in getting these people to us. We know that it's a big effort, and unfortunately, it's not going to slow down. There's a lot more to go. I think Lee is up next. Lee, are you on?
I am. I hope my mic's coming through loud and clear. As Lyle said, I am Support Engineering Manager Americas East. And today I'm going to focus on talking about what we've been doing with our self-managed customers. So there are three big topics that I want to cover. We have new SLAs for premium customers. This is something that's been in the works for a really long time. We've had approval for a while. We've had the ability for customers to set their priority for a bit, but now it's actually going to affect. So if you're in sales, if you're in customer success, if you interact with our customers, make sure you familiarize yourself with this change. And if you have any questions, pop over to the Support Managers channel and feel free to ask us, and we're happy to help with whatever we can. The second thing that's really, really exciting, and I'll share some data on that in a little bit, is first response time Hawk. And what's really exciting about this is at GitLab, one of the core tenets of our culture is being remote and flexibility. And in support, there is an existential pressure to become as rigid as possible. And so we came up with a system that we think is going to help us deliver for our customers while maintaining flexibility for the team. Win, win, win. So we're going to show some data on how that's been going, and we think it's a really great thing. That's a link. So if you have access to the slide deck, you can read more about it there. The third, it's a little bit less positive, but important to highlight and talk about. We had a large incident with a large customer. Because this is live streamed, I won't get into too many more specifics, but if you are a GitLab staff member, you can click that link and you can read our postmortem. We've shared this and worked with the customer. I've been working directly with this customer over the last week to try and understand what's happened here. One of the things that we've learned is we need a much more clear incident management process. We did a great job and the customer thinks that we did a really good job, so that's good. But there were some edge cases where we can do better. And that's one of our big focuses. In what ways can we make this easier in the future for these types of initiatives? One thing I do want to shout out is the Prometheus team, especially the Giddily team, Joshua, Ben, and Stan from other departments, all of support that's been involved as well. This was a cross-team effort. And without you, we wouldn't have been successful here. And I want to call this a success, even though the circumstances weren't the best. So those three things are highlights. Lyle, take us to the next slide. I got a little bit of data for us here. So this is a graph of our premium first response time SLA. And you can see we're going up and to the right. And over the last 60 days, we've hit 90% of our premium first response time SLA. When I joined GitLab, this was somewhere around 78. So we've been making huge strides here with hiring and process. And you can see last week, for the week, 95%. This week so far, 98%. So first response time Hawk as a thing seems to be working, and we're very, very, very excited about that. Now, I do want to say one more thing before I turn it over to Lyle. You will notice that in the recent past, there were some large dips. We investigated here and wanted to understand what happened. Why were we not able to get those responses out? Turns out it was a systemic failure. Zendesk didn't have the right SLAs applied. When we applied them, it then marked it as breached, and that was what caused the problem. So we now have a support ops specialist who's going to help us solve these problems going forward. Finding problems, solving them. Lyle, tell us about your side.
Yeah, I crossed out the .com because I realized that a fair bit of it isn't actually about .com. But I wanted to point out something that I pointed out yesterday on the company call. We have a new section of the handbook that is sort of a quick reference for how to get help from support. And it's kind of broken down by department, shall we say. This is really just a first iteration. I'm really interested in working on this with other people, making this more useful and defining the interface between support and the rest of the company. There is one note that I wanted to voice, and that's please don't open requests directly through Zendesk as an internal person. Like if customers have an issue, that's where we want them to go. All customers into Zendesk. All GitLab people, we would prefer if you were not in Zendesk, so in our issue trackers. That just helps keep things cleaner, and it makes sure that we're hitting our SLAs for our customers and not confusing things where we're like breaching on an internal ticket. It's just weird. But in any case, just a starting point, let's have a conversation about how we can make things smooth and easy. This is a big block quote in an article that is a link. We replaced a boring weekly meeting with this format and gave 40 people an hour back in their week. That's a Lee quote in a totally unrelated article, but I wanted to point out we're doing the support week in review. We used to have an hourly meeting. We've now turned this into an async document, sort of inspired by the engineering week in review. And there's also an audio edition. So please check that out. It will definitely keep you up to date. And generally, the audio edition is only about 9 minutes. So you could find out everything that's going on in support in just about 9 minutes. The last thing actually is a .com, and that is large imports for customers. So there are certain imports that time out, and customers actually can't get their stuff imported into .com. And so, yeah, working with the production team, James Lopez wrote a script to get these long-running imports in, but we're still working on a process to get these scheduled efficiently. So this is sort of like, for some customers, this is a bit of a blocker in getting into .com. Like they want to get off their self-management into .com, and this is something that for some customers is still an ongoing issue. On the .com graph side, our gold and silver is looking good. We had 100% week this week, 83% last week. On the 30 and 60 day, we're sitting at just below 95, which is our goal. So I'm happy. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that the .com team is handling these tickets. Our dips are sometimes related to what Lee was describing, where the organizations aren't correctly associated, but they're also sometimes related to pure volume. So there are days where we don't get as many tickets, and so one miss punishes us. That's just the reality of where we're at right now on our .com subscriptions. And I'm going to keep on talking because I have the next slide. So I hope you're not tired of me. We have a direction point in the support handbook that kind of talks about where we're headed in this year. Some of these are OKRs this quarter. Some of these are potential OKRs for the future, but we kind of wanted to express what we were thinking about over this next fiscal year. Specifically calling out, we're expanding our support operations and readiness. Like I already mentioned, we have the support operations specialist starting at the end of the month. If you're interested in what this person will be working on, Lee has put together a really great doc that kind of maps out that first 6 months of their journey. We're also expanding our management team. So we're hiring an America's Central Support Engineering Manager. That link is to the job description and application. So if you have any references, we'd love to have them. We also wanted to call out our OKRs. We have a milestone set up, and they're attributed per manager. Many of them are process related, and you can see there's some really good discussion in many of them. We're excited about the things that we're working on this quarter. But the big focus is on team performance metrics, making sure we have accountability, process improvements, and scaling team growth effectively. That is it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can see my beautiful face, and let's have a conversation. Let's ask some questions.
John Woods had one in chat about asking questions on behalf of customers in Zendesk. I don't know the technicalities of that offhand, so we can take that into Support Manager Slack, get an answer for him, and make sure it's documented. But other questions, answer them. If not, we can go party. It's Friday.